I think I will first deal with what notes I have made before I speak on general terms to you. Firstly, the comment made by one of you about the sufficient broadcast virtually the President of the United States made before our election. Now, that really showed the concern of leadership of Europe and America on Nigerian stability. Probably, as most of you know, this is the first time I attempted to be the Nigerian president in a multi-party democratic system. The other three attempts, 2003, 2007, 2011, spent in 30, 20, and 8 months in court respectively, and reaching up to Supreme Court. I think one of my very funny colleagues said he has given me honorary SAN. Because the first attempt, which lasted 30 months, I only missed 4 sittings. One when we went to very late Chuba Okadibo, my vice presidential colleague. The other day I came here to see my doctors, whom I had been seeing since 1978 when I was in petroleum. So I have a pretty good idea of Nigerian partisan political system. The second question is creating funds for home development. Yes, when we get short of foreign exchange these days, we were constrained to check and see what are the sources. And one of the biggest sources is what you contribute for, mostly to your families, not in terms of paying home tax, but to your families to support them, school fees, medical bills, and even feeding allowance. But all the same, that was a great help to the country, and I thank you for your sacrifice to our country. The third point I noted is about diaspora voting right. This has been coming up wherever I went, from Kenya to United States to Johannesburg, you know, all the countries I visited since I was sworn in. We are critically looking at the system itself. We must make sure that the election process itself is credible. Let us not deceive ourselves and become too ambitious. When I was here immediately after the election, and I called on the Prime Minister here, he too was just elected, I told him that their process is too boring. No house was burnt, no car was burnt, nobody was shot, and people sat in their office and filled the form and posted it and it would count. He found it amusing. I did it because I went through it, as I told you. Certainly, you have influence on your constituency because of the material support you are sending, and I would recommend that you identify either relatives or political colleagues or classmates in your constituency to keep on updating you, and what this contribution you are making, dedicate part of it to political campaigning to the colleagues you trust back at home. That I will be sending you so much amount. You campaign on behalf of such a party and a candidate. This is yours. If you don't give him something, he will take what you have. So you please do that. I suggest we start with that. Because the last elections, as I told you, the first one, if you could recall, just a couple of months of the election, the former National Security Advisor went and got the service chiefs and the Inspector General of Police and asked them to go and tell INEC that they cannot defend them. They cannot defend INEC. Now, I have been in uniform for about 25 years. And I'm sorry to say, we sometimes try to be as bloody civilians. If INEC comprises all of civilians, and then people in uniform came and told them that in the forthcoming election, we cannot defend them. You know there won't be an election. Yes. We don't think the National Security Advisor, being a retired colonel, would do that on his own. But unfortunately for the government, it organized a National Council of State meeting before the elections. And Jega was asked on his own, he gave a comprehensive report of what he did as chairman of INEC from the last, from the previous general election to this, to the next, to the one we just concluded. And he said he trained, he acquired all the required equipment. He trained people, and he will be able to deliver at least 60% free and fair election. And we never had more than 45%. INEC said that. And I underlined the report. And when we came to comment, I said, INEC said, you are ready. And the report is before us. I underlined some of the sentences, and I replied Council back. I said, mercifully, the 6 weeks the military and law enforcement agents gave is mercifully within the constitutional timing. So be it. Let them have the 6 weeks and get INEC ready to, to conduct the election. And really, they couldn't come up with a most superior argument to say that, again, no, 6 weeks is not enough, we want 8 weeks. And then we insisted that the election must be done, according, to the INEC Act, which means according to the Constitution. At this point, again, I must hasten to thank the United States and Europe, mainly led by Britain, Europe. Because the United States sent its Secretary of State, Kerry, to go and literally read the Riot Act to the previous government and speak to Professor Jega, the chairman of INEC, and speak to us as opposition. That the United States will not tolerate an election outside the Nigerian constitution. And they maintain the pressure from that date until after the election and the formation of the government. I think Nigerians honestly should thank the United States for that. And the same thing Britain. They used all their experience and their powers, to make sure that the federal government did not rig the last election. So we thank God, we thank these superpowers, and we thank technology. Why we thank technology is because of the PVCs, permanent voters cards, and then card readers. As you know, every person who reached the age of voter right, 18 years, has to go to his polling unit, get his permanent voter's card, his photograph, his fingerprint, and then card readers were acquired so that when you come to vote in your voting locality, voting for food, you bring your permanent voter card. The card reader is you to identify, yes, it is you, before you are allowed to vote. So it shows the majority of Nigerians, were prepared to make sure that their accounts voted, as they did. Unfortunately, in some parts of the country, Nigerians were not allowed to use that. And there was a number of casualties. But the overall success, overwhelmed this shortcoming in some parts of the country. So I have gone this far to tell you that the friends of Nigeria, they believe that Nigerians are too aggressive for somebody across the seas to come and tell them what to do or force them what to do. But it's better to persuade them and hold them that this is what your law said. So you better obey your own law. If you don't obey your own law, then certainly you can't claim the sophistication you want to present, that you are civilized, you are decent, that you want to be democratic. And I think this is a point worth noting and worth thanking the Americans, the Europeans for helping us to help ourselves, as they put it. Another point is Nigerians in Diaspora are capable of supporting petroleum industry. Well, you know the condition we are in now. I am sure from the demand from home, in spite of what your effort is, we are really in trouble. What we discovered that was that we tried to impose what we call TSA, Treasury Single Account. And the reason was simple. This government did not initiate it. It was the previous government. But it was so unpopular to the bureaucracy that the previous government, for its own reason, couldn't impose it. But when we came and we found out we are broke, we saw this is the way to do it. And I will just tell you two examples to convince you. Firstly, NNPC, the cow that has been being milked, has more than 45 accounts. Ministry of Defense and the military, that's Army, Navy, Air Force, has more than 70 accounts. Tell me which accountant general can trace this every year. So we imposed TSA. We said there must be TSA. And let me tell you, by the end of December, coming to January this year, last month, we mop up more than 2.2 trillion naira, which will have been used through the brokerage system to raise vouchers and sign checks so that they don't lapse into, they don't go into the next budget. 2.2 trillion naira. And we have stopped giving the road change hard currency. Mainly because we don't have the hard currency. But secondly, we found out, when I say we, I mean the present federal government, found out that some of the directors of the central bank own the bureau de changes. So when a foreign exchange comes, they take it and give government the change. So we stop the central government giving bureaus change. Fellow countrymen, I have given the tip of the iceberg of the problem we inherited. And we are getting so hard because we have no other way of running the country unless we make everybody accountable. Yep. And the system on the budget used to be envelope. They call it envelope budget. And you know what brown envelope can do. So, if you are a head of a ministry, and the previous year you are given 50 billion naira, this year you will be informed only 30 billion naira is available. Take it and see what you can do with it. This year, we said, or for this year's budget, we said there will be zero budgeting. You start from zero, maybe from yourself if you have a farm set. This is my salary, this is my allowance. Then the number of capital projects, which state they are, and how much is required. Then you can justify how much you need. And then the government will find out how much it can give, depending on what it gets. We have identified our foreign and local debt profile. You know, it is more than, it's about 2.5 trillion naira. With what we are getting, some people are voluntarily bringing back what they removed legally. We are getting some not so voluntarily from them. We believe we may end up without, in fact, any deficit, because this money will fill the deficit. I think you can help us. What will help us is if you can increase the contribution home. Please do it. If you can't, well, don't send less. Maintain what you can. So for petroleum industry, what we have uncovered and what the people are writing a lot is only the money misapplied for workers. We haven't come to an NPC yet. No. Not yet. Yeah. And I shudder to think the reaction of Nigerians when the revolution started in NPC. Because even now, some people are saying it's not good enough to recover the money. They must be sent to jail or they must be shot. People are that bloody minded. I'm sorry to use this word. So we are determined, God willing, to recover as much as humanly possible of the money is appropriated by unpatriotic Nigerians. Now, having said that, what else can I tell you? During our campaigns, I'm sure you all know, because we said it so often that we must have sounded like a broken gramophone record. We identified three fundamental problems for Nigeria, which nobody was able to prove us wrong. The first one was security. The second one was economy and unemployment. And the third one, corruption. I think it's just common sense. Because unless you can secure the country, there is no way you can efficiently manage it. Yes. For example, if those $2.1 billion which unpatriotic Nigerians such and share, instead of buying the correct weapons and ammunition, they said they will buy to fight the Boko Haram. Boko Haram would have been eliminated.
Long time ago.
And maybe that government would have won the election. Because they couldn't secure the country, I think they lost control.
Yes.
But they did much more damage than that. Because the money now that we need to do the infrastructure, power, number one, roads, rail, has been misappropriated. And then the money that should go quickly for that and help the industry stabilize, to employ more people, to produce the goods and services, you have to spend it on buying weapons, or maybe increasing the number of soldiers and the policemen and giving them more allowance because they are in the field. So the money for development is going for security. What do? We come to unemployment. We identified Nigeria has land, has water, has a lot of able bodies. More than 60% of Nigerian population are youth, that's 35 and below. Most of them, whether they have been school or not, are unemployed. Agriculture and solid minerals are the answer. So we are going into that very quickly. Because others, they need a lot of capital and so on. And maybe feasibility study and so on. Corruption, the third one, you know what we are doing about it. And I will say it for the acting time here, but I don't think you heard about it. When a British team visited me to see the people they sent to help us, especially in training and intelligence and so on, they called on me. I told them something which amused them, but which was true. I said, when I found myself in the same seat, but in different form, in uniform, the perceived corrupt people, I said, we collected them and put under protective custody. And we told them they are guilty until they can prove themselves innocent. But now, because I came under a different system, and I need the cooperation because it's their system that I borrowed. I saw some of them riding Rolls Royce, having fantastic houses in Abuja, flying in jets, private jets, but they are all innocent until I can prove them guilty. It's a problem we have this government, and I sometimes wonder, at least this time around I asked for it. I prayed for it. I went around the country, I asked for it. But the first one, the military, I allowed the military to take this shit. But I said, why me? Why is it with when they spend the money? When they make the country insecure that I come? Why did I come when the treasury is full? When a barrel was over 140 naira per barrel. And then when I come, it slipped down to 30. Why me? I thank God. I keep on praying to him to pity Nigeria. Over 170 million people exposed to weather change, climate change, exposed to illiteracy and poverty. What you can do for us is to encourage your words to read. Education is a solution. If people are given correct education, they're literate, they are trained, and so on, there is a level of situation, negative situation they will accept. They will get a way of looking after themselves, organizing themselves, and getting out of it. But when you sentence them to illiteracy, you expose them to religious and tribal sentiments, and that's what Boko Haram is. And you find out your attention is distracted from building a nation to quelling riots, to spending the resources instead of building the infrastructure and moving to the 21st century, and you remain in the 16th century. I thank you very much for going with me.